In example 6, we have a differential equation with y on the right-hand side and also x. We also have an initial condition here, f at 2 is equal to 0, and that's necessary to find the particular solution, which is what we're going to do here. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to attempt to separate our variables, and I'll do this in 2 steps. So we'll just multiply on the right-hand side by dx. There we go. And the dx's then will cancel on the left, leaving us with dy is equal to y minus 1 over x squared, and then dx. So the next thing we need to do is get the y minus 1 away from the right-hand side. We want to move that to the left. To do that, we're going to divide or multiply by y minus 1 over y minus 1. We'll divide by y minus 1, or multiply by 1 over y minus 1. So I'll multiply the left by 1 over y minus 1 as well. Those y minus 1s will cancel, and we'll have 1 over y minus 1 dy is equal to 1 over x squared dx. At this point, we want to integrate this. So actually, I think I should write 1 over x squared as x to the negative 2 power. That'll make it a little bit easier to find the antiderivative. We'll integrate there. And so with the antiderivative on the left-hand side, the antiderivative of 1 over y minus 1 is the natural log of the absolute value of y minus 1. You'll need the natural log as the antiderivative whenever you have that variable raised to the first power only in the denominator of the fraction. On the right-hand side, we'll add 1 to the exponent and then divide by the new exponent, remembering, of course, to put plus c. Right now, we're going to go ahead then and solve for c. So I see my initial condition, which is up here. X is 2, y is 0. So I'll just substitute those numbers in. And let's see here. What do we say y was? Y was 0, x was 2. So we'll need 2 here. And this is the same as 1 over x to the first power. And of course, we need that negative sign out there. So then we'll have a plus c here. The absolute value of 0 minus 1 is 1. So we'll have the natural log of 1 on the left-hand side. And then we'll have negative 1/2 plus c on the right. So c will be 1/2 plus the natural log of 1. And the natural log of 1 is 0. So we wind up with a c value of 1/2. We'll go right from this line right here, and we're now going to try to solve for y, now that we found c. So we have the natural log of the absolute value of y minus 1. That's going to be equal to negative 1 over x, and then plus 1/2. At this stage, what we need to do is we need to change this into an exponential. So to do that, we'll write our base, which is e. The base of the natural log function is always e. Our exponent is on the right-hand side of the log. And then everything else, the absolute value of y minus 1, will go on the other side. Most times, folks are going to write this left-hand side of the equal sign as e to the 1/2 times e to the negative 1 over x. You're allowed to break up that addition of exponents just like that. Also, we can deal with the absolute value by putting the plus or minus sign out front, and then we'll have y minus 1 on the right. So we'll find y to be, if we add 1 to each side, 1 plus or minus e to the 1/2 is the same as the square root of e. You can represent it either way, and that's going to be times e to the negative 1 over x. What we want to do now is we want to actually figure out which symbol we're supposed to use. So if you're having trouble with that, what you're going to do is go back to your initial condition, and you're going to substitute those values in. So we'll show that as 0 is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of e. And then I'm going to write this as 1 over e to the 1 over x, and x in this case is 2. So we're going to take that negative exponent that we saw right here, and we're just going to move that base and the exponent down to the bottom of the fraction. This will be 0 then, 1 plus or minus, and we'll have the square root of e times 1 over the square root of e, and those will cancel, and we'll be left with 0 is equal to 1, and of course we want to put a minus sign here because that's 1 minus 1. So that tells us which symbol to use here when we write our final answer. So we'll have y is equal to 1 minus the square root of e times e to the negative 1 over x power.